What's up, y'all? I haven't made a video in forever, but today's video I want to talk about put on my seatbelt first. I don't know. I'm gonna get into a mix of topics, but I just want to talk about stop being so hard on yourself. Every day you're overthinking. Why did I say this? Why did I think this? Why did I do that? There's no time for all that regret because it's already been done. We learn from our thinking patterns and we learn from our thought process. Take mistakes as a lesson rather than a weapon, right? If you take so much energy and put it into overthinking about something that you've thought or you've did, it's just wasting energy. Energy that you could take to invest into yourself to heal. So think about that. Am I being too hard on myself when I'm actually doing the best that I can? Am I doing the best I can to flee from sin, to depart from evil, to instill Christ-like values into myself? See, if we think like that, we need to stop being so hard on ourselves for the slightest, mishaps. It's not fair to ourselves. And I think living with ourselves more than anyone else, we know ourselves more than anyone else. And in doing so, we have to grow comfortable with ourselves and learn to understand our minds and how to just shut it off. It's very, very, very important that you learn how to shut that brain off, because you only think what you feel. I made a video about that. So if you learn to shut that brain off in times of overthinking, it's going to make everything easier, I promise. And in times like this where it's so hard and you got to look out for yourself or rely on somebody just to survive, it gets hard. You want everything to be easier. You want to do the best for your family, for your children, So I think just be easy on yourself. Try to do things to make yourself happy. You don't got to always go out and do flashy stuff, You can just sit down and sit your feet in some warm water in a warm, a big bowl or something, and massage your feet, or put some Epsom salt in it, or sing to yourself, tell yourself in the mirror that you love yourself, remind yourself that you are beautiful. Things like this is self-care and self-love that should be routines, right, in our daily life. Just like we got to eat every day, or we're gonna have that nauseous feeling and we're not gonna feel good, or we need to drink water or we're not gonna live through the week. I think, and I'm saying this because I notice it in my wife, for example, and she thinks something and she dwells on it for very long and feels guilty or has regret. And I'm just saying this because this is on my heart, and I'm gonna tell her this when I see her, but it's very easy to overwhelm ourselves along with the world that's overwhelming us around us. So I understand, you want to do better. You wish you didn't do that. I understand. You wish because you always want, if you're a person of a good soul, you're going to want to be a good person. But if you live out there in the world and you just taking and you just feeding off of drama, and you have no morals instilled into you, and you're constantly seeking this external gratification and feeding nothing internal, and all that builds up is this nasty person inside that hates the world and everybody around them and is confused to why it's happening, but they haven't done anything to take care of themselves. Like I'm saying, I know it's hard out there every single day. You just gotta work. You gotta do something to make money. You gotta do something to, so I understand. It's a very Satan-oriented world, Satan-oriented environment. You know, it's very immoral. Lust is an all-time high. You know, the sexual immortality, what they're pushing on the kids, the agendas of transsexuality, and it's just. I understand if you feel lost right now, but don't be hard on yourself when the world's already being hard on you. The world's judging you. People don't like what you're doing, so they're talking shit behind your back, and then they're acting in person like they're cool with you. So just be easy on yourself, guys. I'm about to get back to work. I'm about right here. Kind of spilled food all over the place right there, but that's fine. I'm not worried about it. I'll clean it later. Nothing I can do about it. And that's something that I'm learning, right? Something wrong happens. I used to blame God for things, right? Because I'm like, oh, God's in control. God can stop what just happened. No. These are problems of man. These are man-made items. These are man-made only thoughts, because we can't comprehend God, an eternal entity, right? Like, your human comprehension can only grasp but so much, right? Consciousness. It's impossible to think like a God, to be a God. It's not possible. What are you creating that isn't of man, right? So, like I'm saying, just be easy on yourself and take things as they are. You know, I think two of the most important things to have in life are acceptance of where you are, because you can't change it, immediately. You have to have acceptance. You will grow depressed wishing that you were somewhere else, but you can't do anything about it right now. So have that acceptance and have that gratitude. Enjoy this human experience that you are enduring. Enjoy this mortal, fleshly life, right? Because if you get right, it's eternal. I'm still in this process. I already am at a point where I know that I love God, and I know that I love Christ, and the simplest meaning of life is to be Christ-like, and that's what I strive to be the best father, to be the best husband, to be the best vessel that I can be. So this was me kind of, venting out my emotions as well as pushing out some motivation. So work on that gratitude, work on that acceptance, and as well try to concentrate, right? Concentration is very, very difficult if you don't have goals in mind. It can be simple as just staring at something and clearing your mind and just looking at that one spot on the wall, or and focusing on that rather than trying to feed yourself and constantly doom scrolling. That's not feeding yourself. Seek knowledge within yourself. Get to know yourself, because if you don't know yourself, what are you doing on this planet? How are you, properly adjusting to the environments around you? But yeah, thank y'all for watching. I really don't care if you didn't finish it, but it's just me talking. So y'all have a great rest of your day.